Right, one last topic I wanted to touch on, because it's something I think we're both aligned on based on what I heard on that podcast, episode 2 of the Duo podcast with you and Hex, which was you said that the main area you're putting your money now, and this is the thing I've been waiting for years, because I used to have a sponsorship from one of these companies back when fantasy esports was a thing, and it's for betting to fully open in the US. Like, I've told so many people, it's funny that there are elements of esports that are a bubble, but if tomorrow someone ever turns on the betting faucet in the way it is in like my home country of the United Kingdom, where you can bet on anything from a $1 thing to $100, all the skills where you can bet on everything in football. It's not even considered much of like a taboo over there. It's just a thing people do, especially the average person, I've always said the second that faucet gets turned on, we'll all be making profit. Forget the idea that like we're going to be surviving. At that point in time, like I'll be on like enormous sponsorship on my channel. Everyone, like that's really the play, right? As soon as sort of the culture shift can happen, and especially the legislative sort of maneuvers take place, that could be the game changer for esports, right?
So close. So we already saw a big acceleration during the pandemic, like in Vegas. All of a sudden you can bet there in Overwatch League and Call of Duty League. And the idea if there's a league around it that seems to feel like it's more regulated, unlike, say, Counter-Strike, where there's a bunch of stuff, so they have to worry about cheating and all that. But you are 100% right. Like, let's just take a look at the U.S. betting market, right? Forget about Europe, which has been forever. It's enormous. Okay. And everyone's waiting for California, because once California goes through, which probably now won't be until next year, but because California is kind of that bellwether that has the most people, does all the work, and then other people other states will say, okay, now we'll do it. Okay. What have we already seen just in anticipation of that? Barstool Sports. I'm a big fan. They've done a great job. Love the Boston, New England upbringing there. They got majority bought by Penn, who's a giant betting company, right? Because they're creating content like you're creating and podcasts, and they have a culture around gaming and betting, because betting won't be like it was for me when I was in, college, or my father, where you sneak off to your bookie or do whatever, right? It'll be just like you said in Europe, like, hey, I'm betting on every little parlay. What's this going to be? What's that going to be? What's the Eurovision winner going to be? They bet on everything, and it's easy, and it's on your app, and it's right there. And you have guys like Adam Silver, the great commissioner of the NBA, who's got such vision. And for years, he's already been talking about it. And he's going to get their integrity fee, right? So Energy is going to get our betting sponsors. Our content's going to be betting related. Flashpoint's going to be all like betted up, right?
We'll be all over that, mate.
Your podcast will be related. I mean, there's a lot of money there, and it's important, and there's a tax base, and it can be regulated, and obviously there's ills that come with betting, but it's totally manageable, and I can't wait. I think it's going to be, there's so many businesses, from the data part of it to the fantasy part of it, and I think people don't totally understand when they think betting. They think, will Shock win the summer or whatever thing this weekend?
The most simple kind, exactly.
Yeah, it could be anything, right? It can be who has the first kill.
What actually transformed soccer betting in Europe was the idea, instead of betting who wins the match, you bet who's the first person to score, who's the first person to have a free kick, wins the first yellow card, because it's the idea of it's just fun things you take a flyer on, isn't it?
And what's the biggest upshot of that? Not even from a revenue standpoint. The biggest upshot of like fantasy football is what? It
keeps you interested in the game. Yeah, exactly. By the way, the same thing happened that's why Counter-Strike blew up as a game. You got all these people who wanted to bet, but they didn't follow esports, but they wanted to figure out, right, well, am I supposed to know which team to bet on? So they start watching the games. Yeah.
And people worry, but it's kids betting. But it's not. Like, when you go down, average age of the Overwatch League fan that last year was 27. Average age of Call of Duty is like 26. Those aren't kids. Those are the same people betting on football every weekend.
And this is why we need it legislated, so it can be legal. Then it won't be some shady company that no one knows that's based in fucking Cyprus or something. Exactly. It'll be Pinnacle Esports. It'll be some real company.
It'll happen, and there's so much venture money going into it, just like it did into cannabis, and now it's moving into this, and there'll be really good platforms and apps, and ways to regulate, and also just take micro bets. It's not people betting thousands of dollars. It's like $2 that this guy gets the first offsides call. Like, it's just fun because you're watching the match. I think it's going to be really important. I thought we would see probably a little more this year, but because of the pandemic and
understandable,
much more important, it'll probably be next year. But there's no doubt